All right. Shalom, Yasharala, Yabarakakam, Yahweh Basham, Hamashiach Yahweh Za'akam, Kharawat, Zaya Ban Yashala, your brother Karat Zaya Ban Yashala, Mashra Yashala. And to the right of me, which would be left on your screen, all right, we have Shatar Malak, all right, from the world renowned, internationally known, all right, often duplicated, never imitated. I don't know how to say it. But from the Torah twins, we have Malak to my right and to your left. All right. We also have the other half of the Torah twins, which is Lakam off screen. All right. And they're going to be doing a Torah portion recap for you. We are right here in the city gates of Gem City, Dayton, Ohio, to where we will be holding, keeping, hosting, teaching the Torah as usual. So it's been a blessing to be a minister, to build with you all. All right, our other elder named Yahushua, he will be here soon. Shalom Aliyah Shabai from the city gates of Columbus, Ohio. All right, we miss you here. I understand being prepared. Tell me how's the sound. Let me get a 7 if the sound is kosher. If it's not kosher, give me 1,486. Just type that in there. If the sound doesn't sound good, type 1,486. If it sounds good, just put a 7 in the room. That'd be good enough. All right, so we're going to be going over the Torah as usual, as always. We're going to be learning about the law, statutes, commandments. We're going to be learning about the prophets. All right. Thawada Aliyah Shabai. Appreciate that. And then we're also going to learn about the gospel. All right. So the gospel of Yahweh Shai HaMashiach. This specific school and community does not teach against the Torah. We do not teach against the prophets. We do not teach out of extra biblical, out of context books to try to persuade anybody to any other narrative, but to return to Yahweh, keep his laws, statutes, and commandments that you may live. I do want to make a public declaration, a public statement. Your salvation is not based off of Deuteronomy chapter 14 or Leviticus chapter 11. All right, your salvation is based off of you keeping the Most High's laws, statutes, commandments, and your faith in Yahweh Shai HaMashiach. I know that right now there's a lot of controversy going around the Israelite community. And I just want to let it be known, this community encourages wholesome eating. All right. I think we got some of the healthiest brothers, that are members of the government of Israel military, which is called MAO, Men of War. And we encourage you men to come out to the 15th Hebrew Israelite Summit, so that you can meet some of these elders, some of these officers, which will be hosted in Atlanta this year, the 15th Hebrew Israelite Summit. So you can be a part of Men of War, all right? So you can be a part of Mashra'ah Yasha'Allah. So again, we have some of the healthiest officers that I have the privilege of knowing. I'm not on their level, but I do want to encourage everybody to know this. We encourage healthy eating. We encourage healthy habits. We do not encourage anyone to teach that the Bible is a contradiction and it's full of contradictions, and that the prophets and that the law of the Most High are contrary to each other. We don't encourage that. Not at all whatsoever. If there's any contradictions, then look inside of yourself and see if you understand that book. See if you understand what was written by the prophets, what was written by the scribes. All right. But don't turn to the book and say that the laws of the Most High are incorrect. Moses didn't write this. Oh, that was added in here. The scribes did this, and you're not providing any proof, any evidence. Look inside yourself and see where the correction lies. All right. So the Bible doesn't contradict itself. Usually it's our understanding or lack thereof of the Bible that contradicts the Bible. So what we're going to do right now is we're going to get started on a Torah portion recap. So if you won't be able to watch the entire Torah portion video that we'll be doing, you can at least learn what these two young elders have already brought out today. You brothers did y'all segment, correct? These brothers already did their teaching. They've already did their studying. They on fire. These brothers is hot. All right? And you need to be hot for the Most High, okay? All right? All praise the Most High. So with no further ado, I'm going to step to the side. And the Torah twins are coming up. All right, we have Shatar Malak and we have Shatar Lakam. I encourage y'all to get to know them personally. and then take your time like I did to memorize their faces and their personality so I can know them, the two, okay? All right? So with that being said, the Torah Twins coming up. The brother Karat Zayah Ben Yashala signing off. I will be on Facebook, though. I'll be making posts on Facebook. And then when the elders get here, when these two brothers resign the office, then we'll get started with the official Torah teaching. All right, with that being said, y'all, salute, shalom. Why do you holler? That's the word. Why do you holler?
Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom.
You need one cup?
I don't know what you was gonna do it.
I was just gonna get it to you. Prophet said so.
You say right there.
Okay, all praise as you wish. That's not speaking, son.
All right, so this week's Torah portion was Numbers 16, verse 1, all the way to Numbers 18 and 32. So we're just about to give a recap on chapter 16. Which definitely had a lot going on in it. We got some type of rebellion between a son of Levi and then two sons of Reuben, along with about 250 men that was going alongside them, following after them. I'm going to start with verse 1, number 16. Now Korah, the son of Izhar, the son of Kohath, the son of Levi, and Dathan and Abiram, the sons of Eliab, and On, the son of Pelah, sons of Reuben, took men, and they rose up before Mashah, were certain of the children of Yasha'Allah, 250 princes of the assembly, famous in the congregation, men of renown, and they gathered themselves together against Mashah and against Aharon, and said unto them, Ye take too much upon you, saying all the congregation are holy, every one of them, and Yahweh is among them. Wherefore, then lift ye up yourselves above the congregation of Yahweh. So these men, you got Kohath, Dathan, Abiram, and On, Salat. That's one of the fathers. Them three men from Levi and Reuben, and then they also gathered 250 princes, people that was known in the congregation to restore order or give order throughout the community, as Jethro, Mashah's father-in-law, gave instructions for him to do. So Mashah wouldn't be the only one up top bearing the burdens of the congregation. So what's going on right now, we see Dathan, Abiram, and Korah. They are committing the act of mutiny. Mutiny is like a revolt or a rebellion against the leadership. And that leadership that was going on right now is Yahweh first, then Mashah, then Aharon. All right, these three people are literally the leaders of Yasha'Allah right now in the wilderness. And these three men, well, which is, again, Dathan, Korah, and Abiram. All right, they going against their leadership, against Yahweh mainly. Why? Because Yahweh set up Mashah and Aharon to lead the people, to lead Yasha'Allah. All right? And now they coming to Aharon and Mashah and saying, like, who made you a prince over us? Like, who told y'all that y'all can be leaders of us? All right? And now they trying to take their jobs. All right? And here's why. We're going to start with verse 3. Number 16, it says, And they gathered themselves together against Mashah and Aharon, and against Aharon, and said unto them, Ye take too much upon you, seeing all the congregation are holy. So they recognize that we are a holy people. They're not getting that misunderstood or nothing like that. So they see that, you know, the whole congregation is holy at the moment. And it says, every one of them, and Yahweh is among them. Wherefore then lift ye up yourselves above the congregation of Yahweh. So he's saying, since all of us is holy, and you know Yahweh is holy, he's watching over us. Why is it that y'all two, the only ones being lifted up above Yahshua, above the congregation of Yahweh, when Yahweh is the holiest? Then with verse 4, Salaki. So they just question his authority, but you know the only reason why we are holy is because of Yahweh. Because Yahweh, he gave instructions to Mashah and Aaron on how to make us holy, how to sanctify us, how to anoint us, and also how to give an atonement for when we are not holy. All right, verse 4, it says, when Mashah heard it, he fell upon his face and spake unto Korah and unto all his company, saying, even tomorrow Yahweh will show who are his and who is holy, and will cause him to come near unto him, even him whom he hath chosen will he cause to come near unto him. This do, take you census, Korah, and all his company, put fire therein, and put incense in them before Yahweh tomorrow. And it shall be that the man whom Yahweh doth choose, he shall be holy. Ye take too much upon you, ye sons of Levi. And Mashah said unto Korah, here I pray you, ye sons of Levi, seemeth it but a small thing unto you, that the Elohim of Yahshua have separated you from the congregation of Yahshua, to bring you near to himself, to do the service of the tabernacle of Yahweh, and to stand before the congregation to minister unto them. So right now, so again, you see these three, well, mainly Korah being the ringleader of this act that's going on right now. Now his response to Mashah was, you got too much on your plate, let me take some off. And now we see Mashah, you know, bowing himself, humbling himself to these men and saying like, no, you trying to take too much on your plate. Like, how much more you need? You already carrying the holy vessels of the tabernacle. You carrying these holy things. You already have your job from the house of Kohath. You have your job already. Why are you trying to take my job now? You got too much on your plate. So now we seeing these men going back and forth saying like, yo, you got too much on your plate. Then the other saying you got too much on your plate. But again, and now Mashah, he's, you know, making proposals saying, all right, take you census. A cense is burning of the coals, which is this right here. You burn it, or, you know, you can use the menorah as well. You burning your coals. And these are going to be, it's basically a head count of who's going to be with you. All right, so he's saying, all right, burn these coals for every man that's rocking with you. That's under your authority now. All right, Korah. Verse 10, and he hath brought thee, Salat. Verse 10, and he hath brought thee near to him, and all thy brethren, the sons of Levi, with thee. And seek ye the priesthood also, for which, Salat, for which cause both thou and all thy company are gathered together against Yahweh, and what is Aaron, that ye murmur against him? So now he's saying, what Aaron do? Like, he's literally the priest. All right, he's the one who's giving you, actually making atonement for your iniquities. Him and his children, his sons, is doing these things for you, and you trying to take that away from him as well. Like, is he doing too much? Do he got too much on his plate? Sons of Levi, they was divided by three. You got Kohath, Moriah, and Gershon. So they all was broken down into different sections on what they had to deal with pertaining to the tabernacle. And then within that is low key kind of like with the tribe of Joseph, like what's up? Because within the sons of Kohath, you got the children. You got Marshall and his brother. Aaron. They were separated from their original household, which was Kohath, to do what? To do the priesthood, to speak with Yahweh, to give the commandments, to pass on the commandments to the people. And then when it came to Aaron and his sons, they was the priest, the high priest, and the priest. So they giving atonements. They giving peace offerings, sacrifices, burnt offerings, meat offerings, wave offerings, all these things. That's a lot going on because we got unnumbered. Our people is unnumbered. So who knows what iniquities, what sins, what transgressions these people are going through or committing, and they have to go to the priest to make up for that. So
and this was an everyday thing.
Every day. Morning, evening.
Morning to evening. Midday, all that. From sun up to sundown. They was doing their duties. That's why Yahweh was saying, like, yo, you going to bear the burdens of the tabernacle. So if you think that, well, first of all, again, we got Ron and his sons doing their job, which was to be a minister, a priest unto Yasha Allah. And then we got the other family, well, the other households of the family of Kohath, which was main Torah, which was speaking up against Marshall and Aaron. Their job was to actually, carry the altar, the everything, well, the altars, the vessels, and everything else that was within the tabernacle. And them things was made of solid wood and pure gold. That got weight to it. Just even with this little piece of silver in our nose, got weight to it.
And here's the thing with that. So, according to Korah's duty concerning the tabernacle, like Racom said, they had to carry all these vessels. And the thing is, they had to carry these things by hand, while the other sons of Levi, which was Gershon and Merari, they had oxen, they had asses and things like that to help them carry, the curtains, the wood, and all that stuff. But Korah and his men, they was barehanded. So yeah, they didn't have no relief unless your brother finna just pick it up for you and carry it with you. And that is a burden, because man, just carrying a pile of wood, heavy wood to a campsite, it's not gonna be always easy. Like, come on.
Solid piece of gold that's larger than this right here. All right.
So Marshall's question is like, y'all got y'all's duty. What y'all want to be? Y'all want to be the priest now? And they ain't even qualified for that. They're not qualified for that.
And now you gotta look at this standpoint. You got somebody telling you like you got too much on their plate when the person already got too much on their plate.
They gave him enough. They gave you enough work.
You got enough work.
All right, I'm gonna go to verse 2. And Marshall sent to call Dathan and Abiram, the sons of Eli. Verse 12. Verse 12, Salaki. And Marshall sent to call Dathan and Abiram, the sons of Eliab, which said, we will not come up. Is it a small thing that thou hast brought us up out of a land that floweth with milk and honey, to kill us in the wilderness, except thou make thyself altogether a prince over us? So Marshall, he's calling for Dathan and Eliab, which is the other two going against him, and they punked out. It was like, no, we're not about to come up to you, Marshall. And then they go to say how small of the matter for you to take us out of Montezarim. And this is stupid because they just call Montezarim a land that flows with milk and honey.
When the last time we saw Montezarim, it was bugs, pestilence, blood everywhere, death. Literally death, the smell of death. Come.
Dead babies, firstborn get killed of every Egyptian. How's that land of milk and honey? You got hellfire, rain coming down, destroying the crops, destroying the animals.
burning the land.
Burning the land. Ain't nothing growing now.
And then the land and whatever vegetation that was still standing, what happened? Well, even the locust was there.
Right. Destroyed that. Ate that.
Now you got your, like, every source of food that you would have in Mount Zion is gone. And the reason why Yahweh referred the land of Canaan, which we will be going to, the land of milk and honey. Why? Because everything is fresh. It's fruitful. All right. The bees, mainly, well, I'm going to speak on the bees and the cows. All right. So the bees, they pollinate. You know, they move all the good nutrients and stuff and, you know, plant the seeds and all that. And what? And then what? You got your cows eating of those things that is healthy and that got more nutrients. The land that flow with milk and honey. Bees is known to make honey, and cows are known to, well, cows and also goats, sheep, and different herds are known to produce healthy milk. But in Mount Zion, all that was gone. The only place that was actually that was milk and honey was in the land where Yahshua dwelt at. But that was just a small piece of Mount Zion. Just a small piece. Like, you leaving that land, you seeing all this death and destruction. When you leaving out and you got the armies chasing after you, you just see death and destruction. So how can you have the audacity to say that Mount Zion is the land of milk and honey? All right. And I'm pretty sure this was what was going on in the minds of Mashal and Aram. All right. And again, within this, man, we just got to humble ourselves and play our role. Not everybody's not a leader. Everybody's not a teacher and things like that. Just, you know, find what you're good at and just stick to that. The house of Kohath, they was good in their job in the tabernacle. Ron and Mashal, they was good with their duties in office in the tabernacle. Gershom was good in their duties of the tabernacle. Merari was good in their duties of the tabernacle. All right. And then we got for the tribes of Yashar'Allah. They had everything else. They had their jobs to do, which was to go to war, and they was good at it. All right. You just got to learn to play your role. That's right. All right. Submit yourself to what you're supposed to do. Humble yourself. Just as Mashal humbled himself and said, like, yo, do you want my job? Do you want the sons of Aaron's job? Like, do you need more? But we shall call
verse 3, verse 13, Numbers 16 says, is it a small thing that thou hast brought us up out of a land that floweth with milk and honey to kill us in the wilderness, except thou make thyself altogether a prince over us? So they're questioning Dathan and Abiram. They're questioning Mashal about, you know, us going into the wilderness to die, but in the wilderness we was given life. We was given the commandments of how to be obedient to Yahweh, how to love our brothers, how to love our sisters and our neighbors,
right?
How to do right by the land,
right?
That's all love. That's not death. That's life. And the fact that, you know, we was struggling in the wilderness for a little bit, but instead of us, you know, asking for something better by Yahweh, we murmured against him. We spoke against Yahweh. We cried against Yahweh. So whining. So now you go to Salakia. Within the wilderness, we had bitter water, so we weren't drinking. We ain't had no water source. What did Yahweh do? He knocked down a tree and made it sweet. Now we just got plentiful water to drink. What else?
We was hungry, and what Yahweh do? He gave us manna, angel's bread, which would have tasted like whatever we wanted it to taste like.
And this is on the daily basis. He gave us commandment on how to collect. So for like the first 5 days of the week, you go ahead and collect enough for the day for your family and on how much, you know, your family would be satisfied to eat.
Right.
On the 6th day, go collect twice as much. So you can have some for that 6th day and have some for the 7th day, where there won't be none left. Like Yahweh said, well, even within the first 6 days, when the sun got hot, that's when it all got spoiled, and it wasn't none going to be left. And Yahweh, he clearly said, on the 7th day, don't go out to look for no type of bread, no manna, nothing. Don't go look for it because it ain't going to be there. And, you know, we was disobedient. We went to go look out, go search. Ain't nothing there. So Yahweh just told you not to go out and go look for food. And then now you're complaining because you ain't got no food. When Yahweh already told you to collect twice as much because you weren't going to get none the next day.
And then after the manna that Yahweh blessed us with, we cried again and said we want flesh. We want garlics and leaves and fish.
We want to go back to Montezarim, the so-called land of milk and honey.
And then what Yahweh did after that, he said, all right, I'm going to give you quail. That was what?
2 cubits high.
2 cubits high. You go to the left and to your right. It's all there.
It's a day's journey.
A day's journey within that. You had all the quail you wanted. And this is the crazy thing. Yahweh gave us up to our vile affection. Like, we literally cried and complained against Yahweh. Literally, well, not to Yahweh, but to Mashal. But ultimately, we was complaining to Yahweh and saying, like, why are you doing this to us? Like, we rather go back to slavery than to be out here, than to actually wait and be long-suffering and patient for you to bless us with a great reward. We'd rather be beaten, raped, and murdered by our enemies than to be out here and to wait for your righteous reward that you will give us. Like, at first we literally cried to Yahweh and say, like, yo, we gotta get out. We need to get out of Montezarim. And now we crying like saying we gotta go back to Montezarim. That's not how it works, man. You gotta be patient and long suffering. But again, the point is that we are continuing to speak against our leaders, but past that, we are speaking against Yahweh. And that's when we need to humble ourselves and bethink ourselves. Are we going against Torah, or is Yahweh going against us? But we all know once we go against Torah, then Yahweh is going to go against us. Why? Because you're not being obedient to what he said. And all he asked was to be obedient. We made a covenant with Yahweh and said we will be obedient. We said, Amen, so be it. We said these things, and we continue to just go against them. So with that, I yield. And before I yield, I say just humble yourselves and just be obedient to Torah.
Right.
Call it up. Call it up. Correct.
Verse 14, moreover, thou hast brought us into the land. Thou hast not brought us into a land that floweth with milk and honey, or given us inheritance of the fields and vineyards. Wilt thou put out the eyes of these men? We will not come up. So here, now they're complaining about why we didn't go to the real land of milk and honey that Yahweh promised Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And the only reason why is because these same men were speaking against the land. They were saying like the people in the land was too strong for us to overtake. The land wasn't really all that great and stuff like that. They was basically just dogging it out. And now their argument is, oh, you ain't bring us into the land of milk and honey because you want to rule over us. That don't make no sense. He brought you out of poverty, oppression, to a place, to the wilderness where it was supposed to make us humble, to give us insight on how to correctly be obedient to Yahweh,
to be spiritually strong. That's what the whole purpose of the wilderness was for. All right.
And the people just showed weakness.
We showed weakness. Come on.
Verse 15, and Mashal was very wroth and said unto Yahweh, respect not thou their offering. I have not taken one ass from them, neither have I hurt one of them. And Mashal said unto Korah, Be thou and all thy company before Yahweh, thou and they, and Aaron tomorrow, and take every man a censer and put incense in them, and bring ye before Yahweh every man a censer, 250 censers. Thou also and Aaron each of you a censer, and they took every man his censer and put fire in them, and laid incense thereon, and stood in the door of the tabernacle of the congregation with Mashah and Aaron. And Korah gathered all the congregation against them unto the door of the tabernacle of the congregation, and the glory.
All right, so again, we just saw Mashah bound himself to these men and saying like, yo, like, what more do you want? Like, what more do you need to feel like you special? No. Yeah, because they wanted their job. They felt like they need to be in authority. They wanted to feel special. And now, Mashah, you know, is trying to like tell them like, yo, come up, you know, like come up to us and like just say what you feel. Say like what needs to be done and like how can we resolve these things. And now these two men are saying like, nah, we're not going to do that. And that's when Mashah got irritated. He said, Yahweh, don't even listen to their prayers. They don't accept their offerings. Why? Because they literally refusing you at this point. But this was the thing with Mashah. He's trying to, you know, still be humble and, you know, try to work things out with these men. Because, again, they didn't want no division. He want everything to be under Yahweh. And these men are constantly refusing to be under Yahweh. Right. Within the authority that Yahweh has given the people of Yasha'Allah. Right. So now, Mashah, you know, he's telling these men, yo, take you and the homies that's rocking with you, burn these incense and make your censers and be about what you stand for. Keep that same energy. Torah. I'm gonna skip on. I'm gonna skip down some more because we already got the setting of Mashah. He told Korah and his men, all his company, to come tomorrow before Aaron and Mashah and Yahweh, of course, make these censers, and then we're just going to see what's going to happen after that. Because these censers are supposed to determine whether who is with Yahweh, who is not, who is holy, who is not.
What book, chapter, verse here?
Number 16. We're going to start with verse 19. And Korah, number 16, verse 19. And Korah gathered all the congregation against them unto the door of the tabernacle of the congregation. And the glory of Yahweh appeared unto all the congregation. Verse 20. And Yahweh spake unto Mashah and unto Aaron, saying, separate yourselves from among this congregation, that I may consume them in a moment. And they fell upon their faces and said, O Elohim, Elohim of the spirits of all flesh, shall one man sin and without be wroth with all the congregation? And Yahweh spake unto Mashah, saying, speak unto the congregation, saying, get you up from about the tabernacle of Korah, Dathan, and Abiram, and
make that separation. All right, we seeing the wickedness of a few people. Don't go along with that wickedness. Get away from them. That's what Yahweh is saying right now. Get away from the multitude of wickedness, of evildoers. Get away from that. Why? Because I already set up this standard. I set up this standard for y'all. And these men right here is going against my standard. Get away from them. Why? Because I'm finna kill them.
That's right. That's right.
That's what that is. Yahweh is saying like, yo, get away from them because I'm finna kill them. I'm finna air this place out. All right, and that's what's going on right now. Korah.
And here's the thing, Mashah, man, he keep humbling himself. Just last week, he was bound himself down before some of the men of war, because they was ready to kill him. They was ready to kill him because they didn't want to go into the land of milk and honey. They didn't want to fight for it, to work for it, to be obedient for it. Right. So here, Mashah he's being meek, and he's saying like, yo, Yahweh, don't kill all the congregation. There's only one man that's causing strife, that's causing the wrong division. So Yahweh was like, all right, go ahead and tell everybody in the congregation, all of Yasha'Allah, stay away from Korah, Dathan, and Abiram. Stay away from them. All right. Number 16, verse 25. Number 16, verse 25. And Mashah rose up and went unto Dathan and Abiram, and the elders of Yasha'Allah followed him. And he spake unto the congregation, saying, Depart, I pray you, from the tents of these wicked men, and touch nothing of theirs, lest ye be consumed in all their sins. So they got up from the tabernacle of Korah, Dathan, and Abiram on every side. And Dathan, Dathan, and Abiram came out and stood in the door of their tents, and their wives, and their sons, and their little children. And Mashah said, all right, so now you got the scene, Korah, he was the only one that went up to Mashah to, speak his piece or whatever. To overstep. And Dathan and Abiram, they stayed back where they was. So they stayed in their tents. And now you see that they in their tents, they coming out, and they standing there in front of everybody. The congregation, they separated, but they could see them. All right. Verse 28, number 16. And Mashah said, Hereby ye shall know that Yahweh hath sent me to do all these works, for I have not done them of my own mind. If these men die the common death of all men, or if they be visited after the visitation of all men, then Yahweh have not sent me. But if Yahweh make a new thing, and the earth open up her mouth and swallow them up with all that appertain unto them, and they go down quick into the pit, then ye shall understand that these men have provoked Yahweh. So he's giving, he's being specific right now. He's showing that there's going to be some type of judgment, and it's a judgment of death. It's clearly a judgment of death. But Mashah is saying these men died the common death, so that means the sick, getting old, common ways to die. And then it was saying that
being murdered,
being
visited by men, being murdered,
killed. So these natural ways of dying, but he just said, if Yahweh would do something, make a new thing, he opened up the earth and they swallow up, then I did. Mashah is saying, personally, Mashah did not kill these men or their families. He wiped his hands clean.
Like, I didn't do this. So now, you dying on your own, you sick, you can't be healed, and you die, you have a heart attack, stroke, whatever, you being killed by somebody, that ain't got nothing to do with me. But if you die miraculously,
that's all you have.
Spontaneous combustion, the earth open up, and you die from that. That ain't me. That's all Yahweh. All these things. I'm just a spokesman. I'm the messenger. Don't shoot the messenger. This is all Yahweh is doing. I'm just saying what's going to happen. That's it. That's what Mashah is doing right now. I'm just saying. This ain't me.
This is our historian. Can the historian pull up next to y'all? We can introduce our brother, our fellow officer, soldier at arms in the city gates of Dayton, Ohio. All right. We have Brother Miles, who will be reading the local historian account of the book of Flavor Josephus. Brothers.
Shalom, Shabbat Shalom. Shalom.
It's still on you, brothers. It's just that he's holding it. So whenever you brothers give him leave.
Oh, he got it. Cool.
We'll be reading from Book 4, Chapter 4, line 3, 3rd at 51.
What are you reading now? What book?
Works of Josephus.
That fan is loud, so we might project it. Stage voice. You're the performing voice, brother. That's right.
When Mashah had said this, with tears in his eyes, the ground was moved on a sudden, and the agitation that set it in motion was like that which the wind produces in waves of the sea. The people were all affrighted, and the ground that was about their tent sunk down at the great noise with a terrible sound, and carried whatsoever was dear to the seditious into itself, who so entirely perished that there was not the least appearance that any man had ever been seen there. The earth that had opened itself about them, closing again and becoming entire as it was before, insomuch that such as saw it afterward did not perceive that any such accident had happened to it. Thus did these men perish and become a demonstration of the power of Elohim.
So even with this, Mashal fell to the ground and cried. And Yahweh, he said, nah, you're not about to make my little homie cry like this. Y'all got to go. That's exactly what happened. Y'all got to go. Why? Because y'all are literally, y'all going against me and speaking against a man who is my voice right now. Y'all speaking against him, and now, like, yo, like, y'all just doing too much. Y'all got to go. Y'all got to bounce. Y'all got to roll out. Is that all you had?
For the, I believe so.
Slakia. And again, this is literally going with Torah. Why? Because Mashal said, if you die a natural death, that has nothing to do with me.
Right.
If you die miraculously while the ground is opening up,
That's Yahweh.
that's Yahweh.
Right.
And he said this right before he cried.
So, something I like about this, the way Josephus describes it. We read it again now. It's where you left off, where you started off at, and then as the Shatarian reading, just scan through Josephus, and then if they say something that you've already seen or heard in the Torah, and if it sticks out Josephus, boom, bring it out, feed the people. All right, Torah Yahweh. So what we see is this right here. Josephus describes it as what? He said, as the waves of the waters. So the earth rippled. This was the first example that I've seen of an earthquake. See? Of a great earthquake. And I believe when you was reading Malak, it did say earthquake. Or Lacan, when you was reading it did say earthquake, correct? Did it say earthquake in the Torah?
Wow.
Or the ground began to shake? This is a huge natural disaster. Now we got earthquakes happening all over the world. The earth opening up her mouth and swallowing. See? The earth moving like water. And then look, like Lacan brought out, it happened when Masha's tears hit the ground. Man, and the earth started rippling, open up, the great agitation. See, that's why I like Josephus, because he's an eyewitness account. And of course, he wasn't there doing this eyewitness account, he wasn't born yet. But he's an eyewitness account of things that we haven't seen. So he was closer to history. You know, he was closer to the antiquities than what we do. All right. But would you mind reading that again, beloved saint? You know, and again, you know, this is one of the first descriptions that I've read in the Torah of a major earthquake outside of the great flood, outside of the deluge. You know, now we got earthquakes happening all over the world. Ain't nothing new under the sun. And when Miriam vexed Masha, she lost her complexion. Yahweh said, what? If the father has spit in the daughter's face. This time, you got a large amount of the congregation going against Masha. Like the officer said, nah, you ain't about to make my little homie cry. Nah.
And so, he did nothing but pray for you. Even with Mount Sinai, you know, when Masha was up there, and everybody, well, even around, you know, make that golden calf, you know, Yahweh was ready to get rid of him. Yahweh said, talk to him before I kill him. Kill them all and just make you be the one. You gonna be all of Yasha'Allah. I'm gonna make a great nation out of you.
Right.
But Yahweh said, no, then you're gonna be made a liar if you do so. So Yahweh submitted and he said, all right, go talk to him and get him correct. All right. And then what happened? Yahweh and Masha said, make the separation. If you're gonna stand with Yahweh, come over here. If you're gonna stand against Yahweh, go over there. And that's what's happening right now in this song. You're either gonna stand for Yahweh,
right,
and you know, just be under the authority of Masha and Aaron,
right,
do so. But if you want to go with the rebels, the people that's committing mutiny, go with Dathan, Abiram, and Korah. Go with them. Be in their company. Set the censors for them. And that's what happened. I yield. Miles, you want to read that again?
When Mashah had said this, with tears in his eyes, the ground was opened on a sudden, and the agitation that set it in motion was like that which the wind produces in waves of the sea.
Salakia. Numbers chapter 16, verse 15. And Mashah was very wroth and said unto Yahweh, respect not their offering. I have not taken one ass from them, neither have I burnt. It's like I have hurt one of them. This is what Mashah was saying when he was crying. Like, I did nothing to these men. Torah.
The people were all affrighted, and the ground that was about their tent sunk down at the great noise with a terrible sound, and carried whatsoever was dear to the seditious into itself. Whoso entirely perished, that there was not the least appearance that any man had ever been seen there.
So I can read 31 to 30, 34. 34.
That's all it was.
So what?
That's all it was.
Come on. Just read it again. 31 and 34.
Number 16 and 31. And it came to pass, as he had made an end of speaking all these words, that the ground clave asunder that was under them, and the earth opened her mouth and swallowed them up, and their houses, and all the men that appertained unto Korah, and all their goods. They and all that appertained to them went down alive into the pit, and the earth closed upon them, and they perished from among the congregation. So just right there, when Miles was reading, it said it was like the earth opened up, swallowed all the things that they had, and the earth closed back, and it was like nobody was there.
Right.
They perished.
Erased.
Fell on the face of the earth.
Korah who?
Hurrah.
Who?
Like that. Cool.
Read on, Miles. Bible chapter. See if Josephus gives us some details.
The earth that had opened itself about them, closing again and becoming entire as it was before, insomuch that such as saw it afterward did not perceive that any such accident had happened to it.
Where'd they go? Who was there?
And that's exactly why Mashah said y'all need to separate from them, from these men and all their goods.
Get
all
away
this,
from them.
Stay away, because that whole area just became desolate.
What's saying? All their goods too?
Calm.
What does that mean with Kermit the Frog in the car rolling his window up? What? the meaning with Kermit the Frog.
Oh,
Yeah. He rolling his window up, driving. That's exactly what that was. Just keep going. Come on, Moss, Uncle Sean.
Thus did these men perish and become a demonstration of the power of Elohim.
They became a memorial. We're going to read that later on. Quran.
Paragraph 53. And truly anyone would lament them, not only on account of this calamity that befell them, which yet deserves our commiseration, but also because their kindred were pleased with their sufferings, for they forgot the relation they bear to them. And at the sight,
I ain't got no cousin named Korah. I don't know David. I apologize. Go ahead, brother, please.
And at the sight of this sad accident, approved of the judgment given against them, and because they looked upon the people about the Dathan as pestilent men, they thought they perished as such, and did not grieve for them.
So like you read all Numbers 40 and 43.
I'm going to read 34 real quick. Numbers 16:34, just real quick. And all Yasha'Allah that were round about them fled at the cry of them, for they said, lest the earth swallow us up also. And there came out a fire from Yahweh and consumed the 250 men that offered incense. So, yeah, the people that was around them, they saw it and they was like, yo, we got to go. We got to get away unless we're going to fall down too. You said verse 40?
So read verse 40.
But before you do that, read 38 because it was going into how the death of these men was a memorial.
Number 16, verse 38. The censors of these sinners against their own souls, let them make them broad plates for a covering of the altar, for they offered them, but Yahweh, for they offered them before Yahweh, therefore they are hallowed, and they shall be a sign unto the children of Yasha'Allah. So and Eleazar, the priest, took the brazen censers wherewith they that were burnt had offered, and they were made broad plates for a covering of the altar, to be a memorial unto the children of Yasha'Allah, that no stranger which is not of the seed of Aaron come near to offer incense before Yahweh, that he be not as Korah and as his company, as Yahweh said to him by the hand of Mashah.
So the census which was the burning of the coals, for every man that burnt them was a memorial to all of Yasha'Allah, saying like, yo, don't try to take Aaron's job. Don't try to take the job of Eleazar and his brothers. All right, they're gonna be memorial of the rebelliousness. They're saying like, if you commit this rebellion ever again, you're gonna be like them, be an example of death. And that's what's going on. Korah.
Verse 41. And on the morrow, all the congregation of the children of Yasha'Allah murmured against Mashah and against Aaron, saying, ye have killed the people of Yahweh. And it came to pass, when the congregation was gathered against Mashah and against Aaron, that they looked toward the tabernacle of the congregation, and behold, the cloud covered it, and the glory of Yahweh appeared. And Mashah and Aaron came before the tabernacle of the congregation. And Yahweh spake unto Mashah, saying, get you up from among this congregation, that I may consume them as in a moment. And they fell upon their faces. Mashah said unto Aaron, take a censer and put fire therein. From off the altar, put on the incense, and go quickly unto the congregation, and make an atonement for them. For there is wrath gone out from Yahweh. The plague is begun. They already dying off as Mashah speaking. Mashah, Yahweh said, get away from this congregation, I'm finna kill them. And Mashah, he felt it. So he was like, yo, Aaron, go get a coal, get a censer, put some incense, go march the congregation to make an atonement. And the only reason why atonement got to be made is because we have sinned, and it was a sin that was worthy of death. So that atonement is supposed to at least redeem or give life. So Mashah was like, go ahead, go amongst the congregation, make an atonement, burn these incense, because the plague already begun. As they speaking, these people are dying in a moment. They're already dying.
That's terrifying, man.
That's like when Aaron and Miriam was speaking against Mashah. Yahweh was speaking, and he was saying, like, he was telling them, like, they was going off for speaking against Mashah. And as he was speaking, Miriam became lepers. They just looked like, just that quick, white as snow. Now she got to be put away. And that's the same thing. It's the same thing going now. Yahweh said that these people about to get killed. They about to die. And they started dying as he was speaking. Y'all have something?
Wow.
All right, verse 48, number 16. And he stood between the dead and the living, and the plague was stayed. Now, they that died in the plague were 14,700, besides them that died about the matter of Torah. Now Haran returned unto Mashah, unto the door of the tabernacle and the congregation, and the plague was stayed. So it was the end of it. The atonement was accepted, the incense was accepted. So Yahweh, he ceased the fire. He stopped the killings. Salaki, Kala Shara, Bar Yahweh, Nah Shah, Nah Shema, all that Yahweh said, what we doing here. Cold stuff, man. We was already given the law not to set fire against the gods or the rulers of our people, not to go against their authority. And this is a prime example of us going against authority. Not only that, going against Yahweh. So Yahweh made an example. He killed over. All right, so you got Korah, Dathan, their family, Abiram, his family. So you got just their families right there, plus the 250 men that was with them. And then you got the congregation that was speaking against the death.
Right.
Speaking against the death, you know that, yeah, it was a rightful death because they provoked Yahweh.
Speaking against a righteous judgment.
It spoke against righteous judgment. And it was 14,000. Salak. Is that 14,000?
That's not to mention also the ones that was in the Greek. Like we mentioned Korah, Dathan, we mentioned the families, but we didn't mention the ones that was co-signing with them too.
Right. The elders also. Man, so this is over. Basically, over 14,800 people just died in this day. Died in one day. And we still got to make mention of the folks that died for trying to go to war in last week's portion. All right, so now we're at chapter 17. You can go read that. All right, so Numbers chapter 17, verse 1. And Yahweh spake unto Mashah, saying, Speak unto the children of Yasha'Allah, and take of every one of them a rod according to the house of their fathers. Of all their princes, according to the house of their fathers, 12 rods. Write thou every man's name upon his rod. All right, so now we see, you know, every prince of Yasha'Allah from every tribe will have to write their name on a rod. All right, and it's going to be 12. One for each tribe. Come. Verse 3. And thou shalt write Aaron's name upon the rod of Yah, for one rod shall be for the head of the house of their fathers. And thou shalt lay them up in the tabernacle of the congregation before the testimony, where I will meet with you. And it shall come to pass that the man's rod whom I shall choose shall blossom, and I will make to cease from me the murmurings of the children of Yasha'Allah, whereby they murmur against you. So now we starting to see, again, Yahweh's about to make the separation. We said, whatever his name, well, whatever tribe and the name they're on, blossom, and is not dead, it's just going to be put to rest. They're going to be in charge right now. All right. So that's what we're seeing right now. All right. Verse 6, and Mashah speaking to the children of Yasha'Allah, and every one of their princes gave him a rod apiece, for each prince one according to their father's houses, even 12 rods, and the rod of Aaron was among their rods. And Mashah laid up the rods before Yahweh in the tabernacle of witness. And it came to pass that on the morrow Mashah went into the tabernacle of witness, and behold, the rod of Haran for the house of Lord Yah was budded, and brought forth buds, and bloomed blossoms, and yielded almonds. And Mashah brought out all the rods from before Yahweh, and unto all the children of Yasha'Allah, and they looked and took every man his rod. So now we see who's in charge right now. Who Yahweh is giving authority and giving rulership over Yasha'Allah. And who was that? The house of Lord Yah, the tribe of Lord Yah, or the house of Aaron. All right, they was going to do was supposed to be in the office. All right, to come. All right. Verse 10. And Yahweh said unto Mashah, bring Aaron's rod again before the testimony, to be kept for a token against the rebels, and thou shalt quiet take away their murmurings from me, that they die not. And Mashah did so, as Yahweh commanded him, so did he. Verse 12, and the children of Yasha'Allah spake unto Mashah, saying, behold, we die, we perish, we all perish. Whosoever cometh anything near unto the tabernacle of Yahweh shall die. Shall we be consumed with dying? Call Shema, Bar Yahweh, Naishah, and Nashemai. All that Yahweh said, what we doing here? So to answer that last question, yes, you will die. Simple as that. Why? Why? Because Yahweh gave authorities to Aaron and his sons to be that priesthood and to do the office and to minister to Yahweh and to the congregation of Yasha'Allah. They the only ones that got the leeway to come nigh unto the tabernacle. And it was Aaron who was supposed to be for all the tribes of Yasha'Allah. So Korah was not supposed to do it at all. Any sons of Kohath, Gershon, and Merari was not supposed to do these things as Aaron was supposed to do. All right. Everybody got their own job, and Yahweh just put all this to rest. All this rebelliousness, saying like, no, I want the authority. You got too much on your plate. Give it to me. All that is put to rest. It should have been put to rest with Korah, where he got swallowed up, and his sons and his wives got swallowed up. It should have been that, but again, it was still murmuring. Even within the murmuring and the children saying, why you kill him? Why you kill them? What they do? Yahweh took them out with fire. And now Yahweh saying like, yo, all this about to be done with. Y'all still want to rebel against what I just miraculously did? Y'all gonna go too. Simple as that. All right. So the rod of Aaron was kept as a token in the tabernacle to let everybody know, to let all of Yasha'Allah know, like this is what Yahweh stand for. This is the standard of Yasha'Allah. All right, and Yahweh standard. Okay, and we got to go by that. We have to stand on that. Because if we don't, what's going to happen? We're going to die. We're going to be just as Korah and Dathan. Who's that? He just died a day ago. Who's that?
So I apologize. The scripture says that their family members didn't disagree with it.
Huh?
The scripture says their family members didn't disagree with it, with their perishing.
They did not.
Yeah, it says they did not.
They didn't agree that they were supposed to be put to death.
No, they didn't. Yeah, you might have just said what I said. They didn't disagree that they should have been put to death.
Come.
Okay.
Come.
All right. Okay.
So shorter form, the families didn't agree with the judgment of being put to death for the people.
Did you say didn't agree with the judgment?
Right.
The families did agree with the judgment of them being put to death. Of Korah and them. Rick, you got that? Can you bring that back out?
Come.
Is that in the scripture or is that in Josephus?
You brought that out of Josephus.
Well, I mean, if
But
everybody
the second account was the next day. Everybody complaining.
Come.
Right. So the first account, you know, the family members. That's what they was like. You know, they
were scared. That's the only reason why they agreed. They was like, yo, we got to get away from them because, yo, we going to die just like them.
Okay, that was the 53rd paragraph. It said, and truly anyone will lament them, not only on account of this calamity that befell them, which yet deserves our commiseration, but also because their kindred were pleased with their sufferings, for they forgot the relation they bear to them.
That's all.
because they was in cancel.
Say good riddance. How you, my cousin?
I don't know you, brother.
McCon. Again, just go along with the standard and the platform and the foundation that your house has created for Yasha'Allah. And that's Torah. We got to stand on Torah. All right, and all the things that's in Torah, we got to stand on. Why? Because if we don't, we're going to fall into every other different things that disagree with Yahweh. All right, be a contradiction. All right, and we don't want to be in a contradiction to Yahweh. Why? Because then we're going to be an adversary against Yahweh, or to Yahweh. And if we an adversary to Yahweh, then
that's like what you was reading earlier when he was saying get away from them because he's about to kill them, like if they going against them, like that's still happening today when you in the truth and you try to get your spirit right and you around people in the world. Come, just take it with your spirit.
Right. Right.
they end up leading you astray. Come. So within this, man, again, just Baba Bashar, just stand on Torah and let this be your foundation and go strong in Torah. Have your foundation strong, all right? Don't be wavered by these different books and different knowledge, all right? Just focus on Torah first and then try to see what you can pour that actually goes with what Yahweh was saying, what Torah is saying. All right, because without that, you have no without Torah, you have no foundation, and you're gonna go astray. Simple as that. All right. And Allah forbid that you fall like Korah and Dathan and Abiram and their families and the elders that was rocking with them, and what basically 1,400 plus men. 14,000. 14,000. That's a lot. All right. So just pray that your fall don't be as them, but you fall in the righteousness of Yahweh, Bashim Yahushua. All right. So I'm pretty sure I saw Yahushua. Chapter 18. Go. All right. Numbers chapter 18, verse 1. And Yahweh said unto Aharon, thou and thy sons and thy father's house with thee shall bear the iniquity of the sanctuary, and thou and thy sons with thee shall bear the iniquity of the priesthood. All right, so now we're seeing Aharon, his sons, and his fathers. All right, so now, so again, we're starting to see the charge and the duty of Aharon, his sons, and his fathers. All right, well, his father's house. So the house of Kohath. All right, we're seeing this foundation. We're seeing another foundation for the priesthood. All right. Verse 2, and thy brethren also of the tribe of Loyah, the tribe of thy father, bring thou with thee, that they may be joined unto thee and minister unto thee. But thou, thy sons with thee all, slightly with thee shall minister before the tabernacle of witness. Verse 3, and they shall keep thy charge and the charge of all the tabernacle only. They shall not come nigh the vessels of the sanctuary, and the altar, that neither they nor ye also die. And they shall be joined unto thee, and keep the charge of the tabernacle of the congregation for all the service of the tabernacle. And a stranger shall not come nigh unto you. And ye shall keep the charge of the sanctuary and the charge of the altar, that there be no wrath any more upon the children of Yasha'Allah. I'm going to stop right here. So again, we see the house of Kohath pertaining to the sons, pertaining to Aaron and his sons. They are going to be the ones to minister to Yasha'Allah. They're going to be the ones to do the sacrifices, the offerings, and the ministry. All right. So with that, I yield, and we're going to read this again, obviously. All right. Right now, Numbers 18 is pretty much giving the provisions for the priests and the Levites. So whatever that they need, the Most High is going to provide. Is giving them order, instructions on how to operate, and come on. How to end this? I know how to end this. Yeah, it's end right there.
I ain't gonna lie, it's hard to keep up with it until the season.